Hi, it's the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your June 2016 general readings. As you can see, to resolve the so far unresolvable volume issues, I have added a headset. So thank you for the feedback I've been getting from the last 5 videos that the volume issue is resolved. So, June 2016 general readings. I am still using my beloved Gilded Tarot deck, and I will be continuing to draw 8 cards for the month, 2 cards for each week, with an additional card as your overall theme and general feeling for the reading. These are general readings, so they're not going to apply and resonate the same for everyone who watches them. Don't forget to check your rising and your moon sign as well. You may find that your rising and your moon sign may connect a little bit better or resonate a little more predictably for you, particularly in different areas of your life. For example, my primary sun sign I find to be the most predictive for me in matters of career or job or my general public life. And my rising sign tends to be I tend to relate to a little more closely in matters of my personal relationships. And my moon sign tends to resonate a little more for me uh, in terms of spirituality and my deepest, innermost feelings for the most part. But of course, that can vary month by month. But that's what I found for myself. So check your rising and your moon sign as well. And also, for those of you who follow regular readers or who follow readers regularly, there are some months and some readings where other people may resonate for you a little more predictively than the ones you normally follow. There's a lot of great YouTube readers out there. So shop around and find the ones you connect with the best and resonate with the most. It's really all about you getting what you need at the end of the day to get as clear and whole a picture of the time period that lays ahead as possible. And for those of you who do include me in the group of readers that you follow on a regular basis, thank you so very much for that. I do appreciate your feedback and your comments and for following and listening and subscribing each month. It is so lovely to see the family growing on a daily basis so rapidly. So thank you. And a thank you to those of you as well who reach out for personal readings. My gratitude to you for having the trust in me uh, to intuit the cards for you in those personal readings, and for having a small place in your life, however momentary. Thank you for your trust in doing that. And for those of you who are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me, you can click on the About sign on my channel's homepage, and that will give you a little more detail and information about myself, the services I offer, and my contact information, which is Maggie, the number 1, McGuire at gmail.com. I do readings full time, so I work pretty diligently at both getting back with you as quickly as possible and scheduling you a reading as quickly as possible as well. I'm always asked about turnaround time, and it is almost always within a week, typically anywhere between 1 and 4 or 5 days, but almost always within a week. So let's get into this. This reading is for Leo for June 2016. Leo, June 2016. Lovely fire signs, the feisty, fiery Leos, the felines. What does the beautiful month of June hold for the lions out there? Leo the lion. What does June 2016 hold for my lions? Leo, 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 June 2016. Okay. We begin with the Emperor, followed by the Queen of Swords, the Four of Pentacles, followed by the Fool, the Two of Swords, followed by the Chariot, the Sun, followed by the Empress, and from the bottom of the deck, your crowning card, general theme, and overall feeling is the Five of Swords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major arcana this month, Leo. It looks like it's going to be a month of potentially some life change and life shifts. And since the majority of what's left over is swords, which is about our outlook, our words and ideas, and our thoughts, it looks like a shifting of some internal work and maybe a shifting of perspectives. We have Wow, this is a powerful reading. We have the ultimate power couple here. We have the Emperor and the Empress, which can often signify a strong focus on a particular relationship, typically a love romance relationship, but it could also represent relationship with somebody like that has an established role in your life, like a father or somebody in that position. Let's just take a look and see what comes out. Okay, Leo, let's begin. So we find ourselves at the beginning of June 2016 with the Emperor, followed by the Queen of Swords. An interesting couple in and of themselves, the Emperor and the Queen of Swords, both very structured, orderly sort of people, both very into convention, tradition, and the truth. So the Emperor is a major arcana card, and the Emperor I always get a lot of similar energies from the Emperor that I do as the Hierophant. Again, very focused on convention and tradition, but leading a very orderly, structured life. The energies are very ordered energies, very structured and disciplined energies. A very strong theme of honesty and integrity with the Emperor. Very thoughtful, weighs things out very carefully because the Emperor has an entire empire to run. The kings have a big enough job as well too. They have an entire kingdom to run, and they rule from a place of wisdom and compassion and experience, just like the emperor does, because he has an entire collection of kingdoms. And he understands that every decision he makes needs to be weighed out very thoughtfully and very methodically because it's going to have an effect and lasting consequences and outcomes on a lot of different people. So, advice attached to the emperor would be to make sure to this could play out two different ways. Of course, it's going to play out different ways as it always does because there's so many of you watching. Now, the emperor could, for some of you, suggest that you need to pay more attention to detail this month, that you need to make sure all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted. For some of you, you're entering June 2016 already doing this, and I feel like that's the stronger energy that I'm getting. You're very focused on something. Now, for some of you, this is going to be a relationship. For some of you, this is going to be job and career or a particular path in your life. I feel like you're focused on a career path or a job path of some kind. You're being very structured about it. I think for some of you, it's like the primary focus for you, and everything is kind of about that. I think it could be almost to the exclusion of other relationships in your life or emotions in your life somehow. You may be so focused on this path that you're on. Now, that Emperor is paired with the Queen of Swords. Swords is governed by the element of air. So, Swords is a suit that's all about our mindset, perspectives, our outlook, words and ideas, how we look at things. It's a mental and cerebral suit. It's all about what goes on up here. The Queen of Swords. Also, I wanted to backtrack for just a second here because it just came in my head rather loudly. There is a strong theme of honesty and integrity associated with the emperor, as I said before, but I'm feeling a very strong piece of advice for a handful of people out there. I'm looking at your crowning card too, which is the Five of Swords, which also speaks of perhaps having focus on getting ahead or obtaining a lot, perhaps at the expense of others or the expense of personal relationships. This could be in terms of being a little too selfish about something, a little too self-oriented about something, or just being really focused on a career path in your life or something related to that to the extent that you're letting fall or excluding out the emotional aspect of your life or other relationships in your life. Some of you may be so focused on getting ahead on this path that you're making decisions or considering making decisions perhaps that aren't in the highest, don't have the highest intent of honor or integrity about them, or the end is justifying the means because it's propelling you ahead somehow. That's really interesting, but I needed to get that out there because it was kind of shouting in my head. So, the Empress with the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords would be, now this could be an actual air sign person in your life because Swords is governed by air, and if so, that would be Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra. For some of you, this is going to represent an actual individual in your life. The Queen of Swords would be someone who, although I think for the larger portion of you, this is energy that you're channeling right along with this Emperor here. The Queen of Swords would be someone who is very focused on truth and integrity. She holds such things to be in the highest ideal, just like the Emperor does. So, again, for those of you who are so focused on getting ahead on a career path or obtaining something by means which may be less than the most, that may not hold, that path may not hold the most personal honor and integrity, you may want to second guess that because you may end up losing relationships over it. So the Queen of Swords, very intelligent individual, a thinker, a very cerebral and mental person, could be somebody that comes across as somewhat reserved, very intelligent, a fact finder. She's all about logic. She can sometimes come across as a little cool and aloof, maybe as a little emotionally reserved, or even she does tend to be very impartial. All the court cards of the suit of swords are not inherently impulsive or spontaneous people because they come from a more thoughtful place, a place from the head first before the heart. Again, they're not inherently prone to acting impulsively or spontaneously. And I feel like this combination of, I really feel like this combination of cards, Leo, I feel like for the majority of you that are watching, the combination of these energies are what you're going into June 2016 with. You're being very focused, very, I feel like for a lot of you, it's something on your career path or a project, getting ahead in some way. You're very, very focused on that. For some of you, this is going to mean focused on it to the exclusion that some of your relationships are going to suffer, parts of your emotional life are going to suffer in some way. For others of you, this is going to represent being so focused on getting ahead and obtaining, reaching your goals and obtaining what it is that you want, that you may be faced or tempted to make decisions to get there quicker that would take advantage of other people or perhaps in some way step on other people. You may be faced with some tempting decisions to act in a way that's less than the highest of honor, personal honor and integrity. So again, be careful and keep an eye out for that because it may cost you some relationships or the respect and trust of some of the people around you. That's not going to resonate for everyone, just for some of you. Now, next to that, we have the Four of Pentacles, followed by the Fool. I also feel a very strong sense of just lightening up a little this month, Leo, just loosening up just a little bit, just lightening up a little bit, just kind of maybe tempering a little bit of that wonderful fire energy that you have. So the Four of Pentacles. Pentacles is governed by the element of earth, and Pentacles is a suit all about things in our earthly, material, tangible environment, things we can see and touch and feel. Pentacles often represent things like money, finances, job, resources, property, assets, etc. All of those tangible material things. But you can apply the same energies to love and relationships and to spirituality as well. It's about the physical or tangible manifestation of something that we've invested in. The Four of Pentacles is a card. It can represent, it's a four, which is a stable foundation, four cornerstones, four pillars. It can represent stability and grounding in your finances, that you're at a comfortable place, you're at a stable place, you're holding on to what you have. For some of you, this is going to be holding on to what you have a little too tightly. This there is some cautionary advice attached to the Four of Pentacles. That is, for some of you, you're holding on a little too tightly. You're a little too focused on everything that you have, that you've. This can be a card about going overboard with being careful about your money, or just being very, very. It almost feels like for some of you, you've come from a background of some kind of financial insufficiency or financial lack or want somehow, and that you've gotten yourself onto a path where you're actually doing quite well for yourself, and you've allowed some of the challenge or pain of that insufficient time to guide you on your path now to where you've become, some of you, I think, so focused on getting ahead and so focused on obtaining that you may be a little closed off and maybe doing it at the exclusion of anything else, like trying to get ahead using whatever methods that you can, being kind of closed off, not being generous, and not necessarily in terms of money, but just holding on very tightly to what you have because you're afraid of losing it. You're afraid that there won't be enough. You're afraid that you're going to go back to a time where you didn't have enough. In love and relationships, this can represent being very closed off, very guarded, and needing to open up to let go, to be a little more giving, just to be a little more open. But again, for the larger portion of you, I'm just feeling that it has something to do with career, money, finances, job, something like that. You're holding on very tightly. You're not willing to let go at all. And you can be seen as somebody who's stingy or miserly. You can also, in matters of work, this can come across to people as being too careful, too cautious, not being willing to take a risk, being very closed off, being very guarded and very restrictive in terms of what you're willing to do in terms of taking risks or stepping outside of yourself, just opening up in general. And that's echoed by the accompanying card with it, which is the major arcana card of the Fool, whom I love. The Fool is my favorite card in the major arcana. The Fool, it represents beginnings, the beginning of the beginnings. He is the zero. He's the very first in the tarot deck. The Fool is here to remind us that while it is good to have a destination, it's very good and wise and practical to set goals and to work towards those goals. The Fool is here to remind us to not be so goal-oriented, goal obsessed, destination focused, that you forget to enjoy the journey, or that you become so focused on it. It's all about getting to that goal, getting to that destination, building up that pile of gold or whatever it is, no matter what it costs you along the way. The Fool is here to remind us that the real joy and value and lessons in the journey is in the steps of the journey itself, not so much in reaching your destination. The Fool has the faith and confidence of a child that he's going to get where he's supposed to go in the time that he's supposed to get there, in the manner in which he's supposed to get there. He has faith and confidence in that connection with the divine and in divine timing and orchestration on this path. And you have like you have 5 major arcana cards this month, Leo. The fingers of the divine are all over this. It's all about divine timing and orchestration. And the Fool is here to ask you, to tell you to have faith in that, and to lighten up a little bit, to loosen up, to open up a little bit, and not be so focused on getting ahead. It's good and wise and practical to do that, but not to do it to the exclusion and detriment of the other things in our life that really matter and the steps of the journey itself. The Fool is also here to ask us, to remind us to take a risk sometimes, to step outside of ourselves, to open up a little bit, take a risk, and trust in the divine to guide you on your path. It's a really beautiful, truly beautiful card. And paired with that Four of Pentacles, it's asking you to open up just a little bit, not be so goal oriented and destination focused that you forget that it's really about the journey, and to remember not to not be so focused on getting ahead that it actually ends up costing you, either through the exclusion of time or methods, that it costs you relationships and the trust and respect of the people around you. Now, next to that, we have the Two of Swords, followed by the Chariot. So the Two of Swords. Swords, again, that mental cerebral suit about our mindset, perspectives, outlooks, words, and ideas. The Two of Swords can point towards almost a willing blindness. You can see that this woman is blindfolded and there are two swords crossed in front of her. This can represent having a decision that needs to be made. It could be two specific choices, two specific paths. You need to make up your mind about which one you want to walk. Feeling stuck, not knowing where to go, as symbolized by this blindfold over her eyes. It also represents having something in front of you that needs to be dealt with, that at least up until now you've been unable and unwilling to deal with. And again, Leo, this reading could be focused on you, or it could be focused on someone very close to you. Also, that's going through this, that you're watching, that you can actually help make a significant difference on their path as well. For the majority of you, it's going to be about you, but for others, it's going to be somebody close to you as well. So, and again, I feel like this card is just echoing the main theme of this. You're so focused on getting ahead, so focused on reaching your goals or building up something for yourself. And it's based on, again, lingering fears of something that you went through in the past that you're like, I'm never going to go through that again. So no matter what it takes, no matter what I need to do, I'm going to forge ahead. I'm not giving up anything to anybody else. It's all mine or something to that sort. And I'm not, don't shoot the messenger. I'm not being judgmental. I'm actually a Leo. That's my primary sun sign. So, I mean, this reading is for me as well. It's not, and this is only going to resonate for some of you, of course, but it's about just not forgetting about the path and not, this Two of Swords, I feel, is about that it feels like somewhere inside of yourself, perhaps you're being too guarded, too maybe goal focused, too closed off, so much in fear from going back to a time period that was very challenging and painful for you that you're um, it's just like you want to make yourself so safe that you're locking all the doors and locking all the windows and buying out the grocery store and putting all the supplies in your house just in case you ever find yourself in that position again. You're never going to be wanting, but you're not answering the door, answering the phone. It's just kind of all about it's really all oriented, Leo, towards giving yourself a sense of security and reassurance because you don't want to repeat a really difficult time in your life where you didn't have those things and you just want to. It's just really about building up a foundation for yourself to make yourself feel safe and secure. And it's really about being careful about how you do that and what you compromise on the path of doing that. And um, the cautionary advice I'm getting this month is to still work towards that, but still maintain your honor and integrity and don't do it at the expense of trust and respect and the relationships in your life. And I feel like you know that, but at least up until now, I just really didn't want to look at it that closely. Um, but the fact that this Two of Swords has come up this month, Leo, means that you need to look at that, make sure to examine what your behavior is on this path. And if you feel like you're just kind of check yourself, do kind of a self check this month and make sure that you're coming from a place of personal honor and integrity and that you're not sacrificing too much either of yourself or your personal relationships because that's really wouldn't be like you, those beautiful, loyal Leos. So just kind of keep a real close eye on that. Now, that Two of Swords is paired with the major arcana card of the Chariot, which is a card that can represent, especially paired with this card about, this kind of blind, kind of charging ahead blindly, really, and almost a stubborn refusal to take this blindfold off and look at the path that you might be headed down or look at any negative aspects of what you might be, any negative ways you may be going around trying to build up this foundation for yourself. The Chariot card does speak of success, of swift successful forward momentum. It speaks of the need of having to have a very good concrete idea of where you're going so you know where to drive this thing. It also represents the bringing together of a variety of disparate forces, meaning forces that each want to go off in their own direction on their own, and harnessing them together and making them work in perfect unison and perfect harmony to successfully propel something forward, i.e., whatever this thing is that you're working on, working towards, building up, etc. You have to know where you're going. We have the body of the chariot to deal with, the driver, the wheels of the chariot, the sphinxes, and the horses driving the chariot. You have to, all of these forces on their own, each want to go off in their own different direction, but it's all about bringing it all together and propelling it forward successfully. So I'm feeling like this combination of cards, Leo, again, kind of underscores the same message. You're so focused on you're so focused on what you've built up and what you're working towards building up. And really, underneath that, it's just about making yourself safe, secure, reassurance, because you came from a place where you weren't. It was, you'll never forget it. It was a very unpleasant experience. You don't ever want to get there again. So you're really focused on this and on growing this and hanging on to it, um, and keeping yourself safe and just kind of charging ahead and not really taking a look at the methods you may be using to do it, or the amount of time that and attention that you're putting into it. And again, I feel like it possibly could cost you if you're not careful. Relationships, trust, respect. Yeah. So it's just about keeping an eye on that this month, Leo. And whatever this thing is that you're building, that you've gotten so that you've worked so hard to build so far, and that you're focused on building and growing, it doesn't necessarily have to be money. It could be something else in your tangible material world, but it could also be a relationship as well. We do have the Emperor and the Empress here, which often can point towards the focus being on a primary relationship of some kind, and you may be so focused on holding on to that and whatever stability and security it provides you, that you're doing it to the exclusion of other relationships in your life. So it could also play out that way as well. But you really need to lighten up, open up, let go just a little bit, and trust that as long as you're being the beautiful Leo that you are, and working towards your goals in a reasonable way, and doing it with honor and trust and integrity, which you possess, Leo. And trusting in the universe that it's going to be okay, that you're going to end up in a good place. But really, it's just about letting a little more of the light in, relaxing just a little bit, and trusting that as long as you do what's in front of you to do, with the best intentions, that the universe will meet you on this path. Because at or towards the end of June 2016, Leo, we have an absolutely phenomenal combination of two major arcana cards. We have the Sun and the Empress. The Sun's your card. You're ruled by the Sun. The Sun is when we think about everything the sun brings, it brings light, warmth. We associate it with love, laughter, with nature, with making things grow. The sun makes bright that which was dark. It illuminates that which was dark. It makes clear that which was cloudy and murky. It reveals things that were previously hidden. The presence of the sun in a major arcana card can represent a coming out of the dark into the light in business and finance. It can represent having been unemployed and then getting a good job. It can represent if budgeting and money was really, really tight and you were living just really dollar to dollar. It can represent kind of a loosening up of that energy. It brings an uplifting feeling, a loosening up of that which was restricted. There's a strong theme of fun around this card, of laughter around this card, of things being open and bright and a little more free. Again, like coming out of the darkness into the light kind of thing, having more fun, needing to have more fun. Again, Leo, and that's you. You're this beautiful, bright, lovely fire sign, and it's not inherently like you to be so kind of closed off and guarded, and I'm just gathering more and more, and it's all mine because I want to make sure I'm never in need again or never in want again. So I think for some of you for whom that does resonate, this time period where you found yourself in want, or in insufficiency, must have made a very deep impact on you, because it's not inherently your nature to be that way. You're a very open, loving, laughing, generous sort of individual. So but that's what that sun card represents. And it is paired with another card of nurturing and openness. And we have the Empress here: fertility, rebirth, pregnancy, renewal, new paths, the ground being right, plant the seeds, a good time to start any new projects, a good time to add to the family in the form of pregnancy. Some of you may be have a higher chance of fertility this month. So if that's something you want, it looks like a good opportunity to work on that. And if it's not something you want, well, forewarned is forearmed. So, but the Empress is also, she's the ultimate Earth Mother of the tarot deck. She pairs beautifully. She's a perfect combination of the invisible, intangible energies of loving and nurturing and developing, spirituality, intuition, and then that lovely, earthy, sensual world as well. She's the perfect blending of both of those energies. A natural mother, the energies are very caretaking, very nurturing, particularly in relationships. The Empress is the opposite of closed off and guarded. She's all about being open and nurturing and self expressive. And also the time being right. When you see this card comes up, it means that the time is right to begin anything new that you've been considering doing. And paired with the Sun card, it's just about fertility, growth, love. I'm just getting kind of openness, 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 relax, let go of some of this fear, Leo, because it's very unlike you. It's a very interesting reading to have. I don't typically get these kind of energies for Leos in any of your readings, but I'm getting that right now. So, again, it's not going to resonate for everyone. Check your rising and your moon sign as well, but that's what's coming through loud and clear this month. But again, at or towards the end of June 2016, trust a little more in the universe. Do what's in front of you to do. Have your plans, have your goals, work towards those. But don't do it to the exclusion of the other people in your life, the emotional spaces in your life. And if you find yourself tempted to get ahead and to continue gathering and adding to whatever it is that you're building on at the exclusion of your own honor, personal honor, and integrity, check yourself on that. Now, your crowning card is the Five of Swords, which just echoes that entire thing that I just spoke of. It talks about winning, but at a high cost. Sometimes this card can resonate as needing to consider if something is worth continuing, if something is worth investing in, because it costs you an awful lot. And it could cost you relationships in your life, respect and love, emotions, and again, closeness of people in your life. You can see on the front of this card that this man has just completed a battle or some kind of battle. He's obviously won. There's people on the ground behind him, obviously defeated. He's gathered up all their weapons and he's holding his own aloft in victory. But if you pay attention and look closely at this card, the scene itself is very grim. The colors are very grim and murky. He doesn't look particularly victorious. He looks tired, worn out, depleted, not happy. Uh, he's bleeding from a little cut on his forehead. He's wounded. And this card begs the question, is it worth it? Is what you're doing or the way that you're doing it, you need to consider if it's worth what you're gaining from this because it could, again, end up costing you. The people in your life or the important emotional spiritual things in your life as well. So just pay very close attention to that, Leo, for those of you for whom this resonates. So that represents the end of your reading, Leo. I hope that it has brought you some insight and clarity and wisdom and food for thought on the month ahead. Just and again, lighten up, Leo. Be who it is you inherently are this month. That beautiful, open, hardworking, but generous, loving, laughing feline that you are. And I think that you'll move through this just fine. And trust in the universe to meet the efforts that you make. You're not alone. It looks like they have their fingers all over you this month. So trust in that, Leo. So for those of you who are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me, again, you can click on the About sign on my channel's homepage and email me directly at Maggie, the number one, McGuire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. And I will see you in a couple of weeks for the June 2016 mid-month readings. Thank you so much for watching, Leo. And as always, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.